Sawadee ka! Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. If you've ever had to bring dessert to a party, you might have run into some limitations. Maybe some guests are vegan or allergic to something, or maybe the limitation is with you. You're not a confident baker, you don't have any special dessert equipment. Whatever the hurdle is, today I have a recipe to share that will solve all those problems. This is a Thai dessert that works with most dietary restrictions, requires no baking or no special equipment, one of the easiest and quickest to make, can be made in advance, and is endlessly adaptable to any ingredients you might have or your preferences. And of course, it is super tasty. I'm talking about a classic Thai dessert called Tako. First, some context. Here is a traditional tako. It's actually a 2-layered pudding. The bottom can be all sorts of different things, but the top is always this creamy white coconut pudding that's a little salty, very good. However, this means that all tako actually look the same, and it's always a bit of a mystery what's underneath. But today I'm going to make an upside down tako, revealing the more beautiful and interesting side and taking the mystery out of it. This is a trend that started recently in Thailand, and when I saw it, I thought, that's brilliant. I need to do that myself. So let's get started. We need to make the bottom first, which for us is the coconut layer. In a pot, I'm gonna add some rice flour and some water and just stir until all the flour is dissolved. You don't want any lumps in here. Then I'm gonna add some coconut milk, some sugar, and quite a bit of salt. This should be distinctly salty. It's going to help balance out the other sweeter layer. The instructions are ridiculously simple. Stir. That's it. That's all you need to do. But you want to stir it constantly because if you stop, the flour will fall to the bottom and then your batter will be lumpy. In the beginning, you can use high heat so it gets hot quickly, but once it starts to steam, lower the heat to medium so that it will thicken slowly and evenly. Keep going until it's fully thickened. And how would you know this? Well, basically, it's going to start to get thicker and thicker and thicker. And then at some point, when you stop stirring, it's going to start to bubble. That means you're really close. And then once it doesn't seem to be getting any thicker for a solid 15 seconds, you are done. When in doubt, just stir it for another minute or so. You can't really overcook it. And just like that, half your dessert is already done. Now, right away, you want to spoon this into your containers. And I say right away because if it cools down too much, it'll start to get stiff and lumpy and it'll be really hard to work with. So you want to have all your containers ready to go. These need to cool and firm up a bit before we can top it. But by the time you're done making the top, they will be ready to go. So really, there's no waiting time involved. Ta-da! Let's talk containers. Traditionally, tako is made in individual little banana leaf cups like this that you saw earlier. They're actually really easy to make, but it's time consuming and it's incredibly messy, like bits of banana leaves everywhere. So, not ideal, but if you're keen, I'll include instructions in the blog post. And also, if you have my first cookbook, the instructions are there as well. But any cups will work. Any kinds of little sauce cups are perfect. This silicone muffin liner is really the perfect size and the pudding comes off super easily. If you need them to be disposable, takeout containers or foil tart pans will work as well. If you really want to, you can do the whole thing in one big casserole dish and just scoop to serve. As I said, no special equipment required. Now the fun part, our top layer. As I said, flavor options are endless, but the one I'm going to show you is a classic Thai combination of pandan leaf and young coconut. I'm blending my pandan leaf with some water to extract its color and floral aroma. And then I have to strain this twice because I have a overzealous blender that atomized my pandan leaf, but you may not need to do that. Pour the pandan juice into a pot, and I want to boost the green color just a little bit with some food coloring. If you're not a fan of food coloring, you don't have to add it. Then I'm adding some mung bean starch and a little bit of tapioca starch. More on these in a little bit. And now I'm going to stir until everything is dissolved. Add some sugar, and now we're going to cook this exactly the same way that we did the first layer. Yes, there's only one technique required in this whole recipe, and that is stirring, okay? Only master stirrers for this recipe. As it gets hot, the mixture is going to gel up bit by bit. And again, you do not want to stop stirring. And as it cooks, it's going to keep changing, becoming more and more translucent. It's actually a really oddly satisfying thing to watch. Similar to the coconut layer, you want to keep going until it no longer changes for a solid 15 seconds. That means the starch has fully cooked. When in doubt, you can keep going for a little bit just to be sure, because you can't overcook this mixture. And the whole thing for this amount shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Once you're there, we're gonna stir some more. This time we're gonna stir in our mix-ins, which in this case is young coconut, which I just got from a can, which works great. And you're just gonna stir it for a minute to let the whole mixture heat up. Make sure everything is evenly distributed, and just like that, the mixture is done. Same deal. While it's piping hot, spoon it over the coconut mixture, and you want the two layers to be roughly the same amount, which means that these slope-sided bowls are really not ideal for this, but they're really cute and I really wanted to use them. If green is not your color, no problem. Stick around to the end and I will show you 2 more flavor options. Let's talk about the main starch we need, mung bean starch. And as always, I'm using Pine brand, who is our sponsor today. And the reason we use mung bean starch is because it has this magical quality of being clear when cooked. This is why glass noodles are made from mung bean starch. And so when we use it, it allows the mix-ins to be visible, and it just has this shine and gloss that is beautiful. If I were to use rice flour or cornstarch for this, it would be cloudy and it wouldn't be nearly as pretty. I also like to add a little bit of tapioca starch as well, because tapioca starch has a little bit more elasticity, so for texture it's nice, but you can do it all with just mung bean starch. I grew up with Pine brand products, and in Thailand they are a household name, most well known for their premium glass noodles and mung bean starch. Their products are made in state-of-the-art facilities with tight quality control, so you can trust that the products are pure and will perform as expected. I've been a customer even before they were a sponsor. And if you want to check it out, I'll talk about where to buy and what else you can use these for in the blog post. Look at these! They're so pretty. Imagine these on like a dessert table at a party. I mean, they're stunner. Now, let's recap why these are the perfect party dessert. They're vegan, gluten-free, everything free. They're really easy. They can be made in advance, and I will talk more about that in the blog post. And most importantly, they are delicious. But the proof is in the pudding. Sorry, I just really had to. Look at that. 1 creamy, salty layer, 1 sweet layer. So good. It's really hard to describe. It looks really firm, but it's actually really soft. Like when you dig it in, there's almost no resistance. And the coconut is just so creamy. And the two combined, man, it's so good. I don't know, like everybody must love these. I don't know why anyone would object to these. I promised you some alternatives to inspire some more ideas. These red ones are perfect for the holidays. The red comes from beets, and the pieces are water chestnuts, which is classic in Tako. And since these two don't have a whole lot of flavor going on, I also added some jasmine extracts, but you can add coconut extracts or whatever extracts you want. If water chestnut's not your thing, you can put the young coconut in here. You can mix and match anything. And these yellow ones are very unconventional. A friend of mine tasted these two that I made, and then she said, "What about pineapple?" And it had never occurred to me to use a tart fruit in Tako, but I thought, that's brilliant. And actually, this might even be my favorite of all of these ones. For the liquid, I use coconut water with a little gold dust added for that pearlescent effect, but pineapple juice would also work here. Canned pineapple is great, no need to cut up a fresh one here. And if you add a little rum, you have yourself a pina colada pudding. One last thing to note, Tako is usually served at room temperature, but I actually really like it cold. It's kind of nice and refreshing. However, mung bean starch becomes cloudy when it's refrigerated, like this, okay? Now, the taste doesn't change, so it will taste just as good. However, if the clear look is important to you, don't fridge them. They will last all day at room temperature, and I'll talk more details about storage and advanced prep and all that in the blog post. And that is it. The recipe, as always, will be on hotthaikitchen.com. Yes, recipe for all 3 toppings. And a special thanks to our Patreon members who help support the show. If you want to know what that's all about, check out the link in the description below. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time. สวัสดีค่ะ